Good morning and welcome to the dialogue this morning. This is the show when we reflect on the big events of the week. My name is Prince Apollo. On the panel, we have to look at the first week of presidential campaigns as the 8 candidates continue to comb the countryside for votes. It is a time we look at the emerging issues during these presidential campaigns. We look at how events are unfolding, but also ask questions on the process and the progress of these presidential campaigns. On the show this morning, Richard Baguma Tinkasimire, a veteran journalist, but also a political commentator, is already in the studio. Dr. Gerard Wanzara, a public policy researcher, but also an associate lecturer at Uganda Management Institute, is in the studio. We've also been joined by Farida Rule, and Farida is an election observer, but also the executive director for Shahidi Foundation. Farida is an active participant, but also a key stakeholder in the elections. It's my honor and pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Gerard Wanzala, and it is always a privilege, Doctor, to have you on the show.
Thank you very much, Apollo. Good morning, and good morning to my colleagues in the studio. And of course, most importantly, I greet our viewers who are always with us every Saturday. My citizens of the United Republic of Chirinya, I greet you.
Wow.
Thank you.
How was the week?
The week was not bad, just observing what's going on, the campaigns. But I also saw you somewhere, Apollo. I think stakeholders in the broadcasting industry, I saw some people grilling that some programs are only full of politicians who don't give an objective view of what is happening in the country. And I think I want to thank you that you always balance your programs on social media to ensure that you have, of course, NRA senior foot soldiers, but you also have people who are objective.
Yeah. NRA original. Welcome to the show, Doctor. And I am honored and privileged to have Richard. Richard, I'm happy always to have you on the show.
Thank you very much. You know, some of the NRA people think that the metamorphosis of the NRM is reactionary, but that's an interesting debate.
Sure.
But as I always say, it is God first.
God first.
The Almighty who gives us the health, the life, the ability to be here on Saturdays. He's the one we thank first. The viewers who really patronize us, and the listeners too, because there are some of those who connect to us on radio. We thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here.
Sure.
To, you know, really talk about more of the same.
Yeah, more of the same.
Since 1986, so let's talk about more of the same. And I'm really looking forward to hearing from Farida. I was an election observer, I think in 1996 or something. and a bit of, so I'm looking forward to the experiences now, if there is any observation anyway that happened.
You still think it's more of the same?
Since 1986.
But
I think we've been here.
You may be shocked.
I think we've been here. No, Apollo, I have told you that except for biological reasons.
Why do you rule out those biological reasons?
Apollo, I always predict. You know, when I am on this show, I have no fear of prediction. Even some of the things which is like crazy. So I can tell you that except for the hand of biology, come February 2026, we shall be having Yoweri Museveni as president.
Oh, it is your opinion.
Yeah, that is my opinion, and I share it confidently.
Surely. Farida Rule, I'm pleased to have you on the show this morning. Speak to our viewers.
Yeah, thank you, Apollo and team. It is very interesting to listen to colleague, Brother Baguma.
40 years will be.
You can authoritatively predict.
But for me, I still have trust in the process, that the process can give us anything. It can actually surprise us if we actually follow the right process and we have a free and fair election. Yes, there are new things on the globe in observation as compared to in his years. And we shall be able to, he will be able to listen and see whether we have some new babies or we are still using the same weapons they used. Yeah.
And Ushahid is an active stakeholder in this election.
Yes, Ushahidi Foundation. It's a new organization. We are looking at integrity in elections, but I don't think we will just get it on a silver platter. That's why we are going process by process to ensure that at least there are some areas that we have achieved, and I know I can smile, and people will not even feel them, but
what job, what task, what assignment are you going to do? What role are you going to play?
We are going to observe the process, and we are going to also to sensitize Ugandans, because you can't just observe the process by when you know that the voters that you are going to, the issues that you are going to look at, people are illiterate about them, they are ignorant about them, so you need to also to sensitize them. At the end of the day, you observe whether you have what you have talked about, what you have done has actually made some impact to the community. That's why we are doing both. We are sensitizing, we are doing a lot of sensitization. It's so sad that you even
in the middle of campaigns.
In the middle of the campaigns, because we got the accreditation very late, and you cannot go out to sensitize voters when you don't have accreditation from the Electoral Commission. But there are some issues there are some things that you even underestimate that you think that everyone knows. Just like, for example, I had some person from one of the political parties addressing the Electoral Commission as the Independent Electoral Commission. So, we don't have the Independent Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commission Uganda has the Electoral Commission, not the independent. But someone senior in actually political party and is ahead, he's actually addressing the Electoral Commission as independent. I'm writing to the Independent Electoral Commission, knowing that amendment did not come to reality. They did not actually pass it. So even voter education starts from there. So you have to to go to an extent to tell people that, we have the Electoral Commission, not the independent. And when you're in some gathering, you will even hear people referring to the Electoral Commission as independent. There's also something that is just, you could underestimate or underlook that, for example, what are we going to use? People have been voting, and they know that they have the National Voters Register. They think that that is what they are going to use. And now when some challenges came that it has expired, people are scared. No, what are we going to use? Are we not going to elect? So are we not going to vote? So meaning that people need to be told, need to be sensitized, need to be, actually we need to communicate. This is the time Electoral Commission has to be there communicating, using all the channels to make sure that they cover up that gap. In fact, they should have people to support them. They should have, for example, we should hurry this process such that we start very, very early rather than starting late. So I think I still have challenges with the Electoral Commission to accredit people late. In fact, we should be accredited before even the cycle starts. We should be accredited before the cycle starts. And also as civil society, we could also start our work before even the cycle starts, for us to be able, some of these small things, to close that gap.
I am, my personal view is that we are already late. And voter education means a lot to an election as the one we are already into. My name is Prince Apollo. We kick off the big show, and we will be examining the progress of the election, but more specifically the presidential campaigns, which are now concluding the first week. And the 8 candidates, like I said, continue to comb the countryside. The NRM camp is still in Lango sub-region after that launch in Luwero, but also the opposition National Unity Platform, the FDC, still combing the Busoga sub-region. And my concern was also the time. I don't know if what informed their decisions. Many, these camps are putting much more emphasis in particular regions. My calculation tells me that they have at least 100 days left on their schedule until the polls, the January 12th polls. I don't know if they have much time to cover all the regions, and perhaps those are the issues that we can talk about. But Dr. Gerard Wansala, tell me what you think about the progress so far. At the beginning, we thought this is likely to be a campaign full of scuffles, confrontations with the security, tear gas, live bullets, and arrests. But after a week, it is all calm, save for a few scuffles here and there.
Thank you very much, Apple. To discuss the election, the campaigns, how they're ongoing. First, I must look at the candidates. Of course, you are talking about them concentrating in some areas, but the truth is that the areas that are vote rich. If you look at our statistics, Uganda here, Central, Busoga, Ankole, those are key, key sub-regions. And then if you add on others now like Bugisu, I think from number 1 to number 7, around there. Then you have some areas where you just need to pick something to top up so that it can swing you from one place to another. And so when you see Munyagwa, Nandala Mafavi, Bobby Wine rotating around Busoga, I think you can know why.
They are being strategic.
Yes, and also if you look at the previous election, you see that Bobby Wine, who was very new on the political scene, defeated President Museveni in Busoga. And this time the hostility is even higher because issues of sugarcane have never been resolved. Issues of caning fishermen and the cage farming and chasing them off the lake and pushing them into poverty are still persisting. If you look at the statistics on poverty in Uganda, apart from the north, where it's about 68% and onwards, the next poorest region is Busoga here, right here, where there is Lake Victoria, where there is a lot of fertile land, where there is there are a lot of interventions that probably are not working. And of course, there are other fallouts within the NRM that may also influence
the voting patterns.
The voting patterns. So everyone would like to partake of what is falling off from the NRM. And I think this is the reason why President Museveni is valuing the vote in the north so much. That which was traditionally hostile, at least if you can take probably 60% and others share the 40%, then they can cover for the loss somewhere. And what I've also observed is, after nomination, people were addressing the press, and they were giving kind of a broader macro economic, programs that they are going to give as a country at a macro level. But now as they campaign and they narrow their campaign down, I see them focusing on the issues in that region.
Community
Exactly.
issues.
When I saw President Museveni in Amolatar, there are roads that are very impassable, like Kwania and Apache. They have a lot of swamps. So when it rains, some communities totally are cut off from each other. You have seen him apologizing and saying in the new term, he knows their problems and will work on those. There is where the swamps swallow even homes. So, but if you look at the problem of fishermen, whether in Busoga, whether in Amolatar, in Lango, it is almost the same. When people are chased, there is also a shortage of food. Then the fish is expensive even when you sleep right near the lake or the river. So they don't take these things so lightly. So then the other is about policing of elections. Of course, compared to the COVID election of 2021, this is is smoother if you compare. Of course, there are some illogical decisions by some security people. Like one has become very notorious, I think, in Uganda. Because I remember every time an opposition person is passing Uganda, the treatment is different from either the DPC is overzealous, because sometimes there is common sense. If I'm going to have a rally in Iganga municipality, and then you want me probably to go to Namutumba, then I use a very bad road which is going to take me maybe 6 hours. By the time I reach, by the time I return to Iganga through the back door, it is maybe 8 p.m. in the night.
That was the case with Robert Chagulanyi.
I saw Robert Chagulanyi yesterday had to abandon it, but I also saw they had a scuffle with Nandala Mafabi on a similar thing, arguments over the route. So even if you never studied vectors in school, mathematics, it doesn't make sense that I am going to have a rally in Iganga municipality. There's no another candidate in the same place. Then you want to take me to Namutumba, you take me to Kalilo Road probably, and then I come back after spending 8 hours on it. And yet we have only 3 months. We have 144 districts, but we have 3 months, about 90 days to campaign. So it means a presidential candidate must be in at least a district and a half probably in a day for them to be able to complete their campaign program. Of course, this advantages the incumbent who has been campaigning for the last 3 years under PDM, because these were basically campaigns really. There was nothing like a head of state going to monitor
Mr.
PDM.
Museveni.
How many millions of people have received the PDM? Can a head of state monitor? So this enabled him to be closer to people, articulate his programs, talk about his achievements. So this one is just a mop-up exercise.
So the pressure is on these other 7 candidates.
Yes, but Richard talked about the manifesto issues.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
And let me hear from you, Richard. How are the campaigns progressing? I don't remember what was your prediction the last time we talked about, actually last week when we talked about the kickoff of these presidential campaigns. But it looks like it's a quieter campaign that we've observed in these 5 days.
Okay, I said what I just said at the beginning of the program, that I'm consistent about. I also said that we have a high likelihood to have more independence than even we have now, more independent MPs and more independent local leaders, whatever it is. I also said that we should still, there is no way we can keep all our tear gas in the stores. We must use it. So it is. I think you are celebrating too quickly. Yeah, I think so. I said there is no way we can accredit big organizations to go and confuse our voters. That it is there is even confusion between civic education and voter education. Yeah. So what are you actually doing? There is no way you can accredit this one. I told you, you accredit this work to go do
UP Mark.
I don't know how big your organization is. I am really keen listening. I don't think it's big. When we went to do education at that time, the money was coming, all of it through the Electoral Commission. But you want to get the groups, I don't know from where, giving people money to go. So some of these things, you see, I keep telling you, Apollo, that I don't come here to talk about things which are popular with the audience.
Yeah.
I come to do my analysis, whether it is popular or not. Yes, I have been a bit of a player for a while. And so you look and you say, but what has changed? Really, what?
Yeah, we have not at least seen tear gas canisters flying.
Our tear gas cannot remain in the store.
We have not
seen so it was
the bullets flying.
So two things. One, like I said, you have a weaker opposition. Now, a more divided, weaker opposition. So there is less pressure.
Oh, on the incumbent.
Yeah, there's less pressure. But then the one I can guarantee you again, the one who shows some strength will be curtailed.
Hey.
Apollo, you guys, you have been around for some years. Why do you pretend that you haven't seen these things? And the players are the same. So what has changed? So, for me, for the media houses, that somebody has some strength in an area, they will be speaking in studio alone.
Oh, they will switch off.
As it did happen. So why do you, I don't know. I am sorry really, but we come here and in my view, many of us, we analyze as if we haven't seen these things, as if the players have changed. They haven't. As long as the stakes become higher, the playbook will come out.
When will the stakes go higher?
Okay, two things that happen. At least when I was still relatively active.
What events could precipitate?
When I was still relatively active. One is, why do you concentrate your forces in one area? Because you do sample. These big groups do sample, including the embassies, by the way. They do sample because they know who they would contract to do what is the political temperature. Where are the votes likely to be? Where? And you find even when they are making choice of who to give money, civic education, they choose where they think there will be hotspots. If you are working in this region, you are likely to get the grant more than the other. So everyone who is interested in governance, but also every time a campaign is coming, the local teams will tell the candidate what the issues on the ground are. So whether it is, the manifesto will be put on the side. If the problem is flooding, that is current there, the candidate will concentrate on flooding, not on macroeconomic stabilization and the trains. Yeah. So these are the situation we'll find. So if the stakes become a little higher, if the internal information management says that this one is slipping out of this one's hand, so if this one comes, they may strengthen their place, then they will be.
Are there signs that
they will be delayed? What happened in Uganda?
That the stakes may.
What happened in Uganda?
Run high.
Where are the convoys passing? Why are the convoys not passing on tarmac, on the main tarmac? Of course, it can be justified. Oh, there are trailers, you're broke. I don't know what. It's a threat. You shop, see. But who has the biggest convoy and the biggest crowd? How come for that one is passing on those roads? So,
he's the incumbent. He's the president.
Yeah. So this situation must not be talked about as if there are any fundamental rearrangement. There are no fundamental rearrangement.
Can this, what we've witnessed,
continue?
Prevail? And
if the groups remain weak and divided, it will prevail. They will be having no impact. So why disturb them? Why not let them tear at each other?
An election observer, Farid Arule, you must have been observing even before being accredited as an observer. What do you see, or what do you observe?
I think the issue of fairness still stands, that all players, the field is not leveled for all the candidates, despite the fact that...
Has it ever been level?
It has never been leveled, and still that issue comes up, because even from the start, you can sense that they have, because that is what we are supposed to work on as a country, to level the playing field. If you have more candidates being favored right from the word go, then you are bound to see most of those issues arise. For example, it is just a police officer, security, that you know that this activity is going to happen, for example, in Uganda. How do we plan? Just like when they are planning for their security meetings, that you know, where this is how the president is coming to our district. So what role are you going to play? Even these candidates, as per now, they are all aspiring candidates. They are at the same level.
Aspiring presidents.
Yes, aspiring presidents. So what you have to do as security, how do we plan for this candidate? What route? You see, that is what we call stakeholders in this election. How do we work together to see that at least someone, you help the person go through his process or pursue his candidature. So you know, security has to show that they are not partisan. They are not partisan. They are non-partisan in this process. So when you say that Kyagulanyi, you are not supposed to pass through the city center, and then when the president is coming, you actually create way, and that is the same attitude you're supposed to show to Kyagulanyi or to Nandala.
No, that issue, we got a response to that particular issue from the stakeholder meeting we had yesterday, and the response was that whereas Mr. Museveni is a presidential candidate, the law provides even for his office as the incumbent, the sitting head of state. So you cannot put him at the same level as other 7 candidates. That's the response we got.
That is why we were advocating for electoral reforms, and those are some of the issues that we are looking at. How do we make sure that we level the playing field for all the candidates, and that has to be taken care of by the law. Despite the fact that you're president, when it comes to elections, if you are going for an activity as a candidate, you have to be given the same treatment. If you are going as a president, then you have to be given that space also. But in this case, we have weaker laws. We also still haven't handled that, meaning that the president will still enjoy that privilege,
privileges,
whether you like it or not,
the head of state.
As the head of state. So on an election day, is he voting as a president or as a candidate? So everything else in this process comes back to the law, that our laws are not favoring us to have the fair processes that we actually advocate for.
So we even as you speak, or even as the campaigns progress, there is already an unfairness
in the process. Exactly.
The process is unfair.
The process is unfair from the onset. But I also want to credit the security that when these guys had their first meetings, it was peaceful. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that. I expect because the venues that the candidates chose, except for the president, for example, Nope, the venue that has been a very hectic, chaotic venue. Natete has so many issues to actually. It has a history to tell about Natete. So and I was shocked when they chose Natete. And when they chose Natete, I actually expected that people are going to be arrested. There was something that was going to happen, at least. But good enough, the people who came to attend the campaigns were also peaceful, and also the campaign went well, and security also cooperated, and that was a tick.
It was a post-nomination rally.
Exactly, that was a good tick to all players at that level, both the supporters, the candidate, and also security, and maybe the media. So you all played your part in Natete. For me, Natete was waiting for something to happen in Natete. I'm surprised that I didn't see Nandala and I didn't see the other candidates, because you have to use that opportune time to actually show that you are really in for this for presidents, because on the first day you cannot even have a meeting with your supporters, and you claim that you are an aspiring presidential
but Nandala
candidate.
had his post-nomination rally in
Butabika.
Butabika.
Robert Kasibante and Frank. And I think when we are amending the law, we have to look at some of those issues, that who should come to aspire for a presidential candidate. So if such person cannot even have a first meeting, can even not hold a meeting, that means that person doesn't have a support. So it will inform us when we are making amendments to the Presidential Elections Act.
Okay. Thank you so much, Farida. And before I cross over again to Dr. Were, you talked about the security, and you actually credited them for. I mean, I think you're talking about
for cooperating with
with the supporters, but we saw scuffles even in Nandalama Fabi's camp. We've seen scuffles here and there.
Those can happen even in the home. You cannot have it smoothly all the way, but at least as it has been with security and opposition, especially with the National Unity Platform. For me, what happened at Natete at least was a credit.
A credit.
Yes.
Okay, Dr. Wenzala, still on the same issue. Who can we credit for this? You called it a smooth first week of campaigns, because I see even the opposition, if I may use the word, are not so hostile, are not, reactional in any way. Somehow, I don't know what you observe.
I think if it was a flight, I would say that it's still building momentum. Okay, in the first week, they are observing who is emerging as a frontline, a challenger, what message, how is it turning the people around, how are people receiving it, and what's the implication on the outcome. So while I credit the candidates at this time, of course, I also credit the Electoral Commission. This time it's being more proactive in terms of responding to certain issues, coming to the media, explaining, and then, of course, the security people, I think some are really being conscious of the fact that while in 2020, they would use COVID to beat anybody and arrest anybody. This time, there is no COVID. So if you are seen on camera brutalizing people and arresting them, yet it's a normal campaign, then I think they're a bit conscious about that, except the area I'm concerned about, Uganda, where I've seen, like the day Nandala, I think, was going for homecoming, waving to people in Uganda, they swallowed a lot of tear gas. Like Richard said, I think they said we must use what we bought. A lot of people, traders, tear gas. For people who have about 4 cars, passing, continuing, going to Mbale. So I can't rule out that may not happen. Because as things unfolded in 2020, we saw that at first the campaign was kind of smooth. Then, of course, there were altercations at the presidential nomination where Amuriat lost his shoes and people accompanied Kyagulanyi were boxed, others took their clothes torn. But we saw towards the end of the campaign, if I recollect well, when he went to Mayuge, when he went to Kalangala, where all the army raided Kalangala and everybody was arrested and Kyagulanyi taken home. So, and then they banned campaigns in 16 districts in Uganda, where NUP was more popular. So if these signs continue to show, we don't know what's going to happen, because I've seen almost every candidate is sparing their home area where they're strong for the last. So I believe that Kyagulanyi is also going in the side, then is coming to his base last. As Nandala also withdraws to Bugisu and Teso and Tororo and so forth. So I cannot rule out that things may change.
Things may change.
Because then when the momentum has been built, and then the fear of the unknown, and then it creates tension. And then you find people sometimes acting unreasonably.
Thank you so much, our viewers. We continue to evaluate the progress of these activities within the presidential campaigns. As we conclude the first week, we look at how events are unfolding and how the presidential candidates are sending their messages to the electorate. And you can be part of this discussion. Especially, we are looking at how come these processes have been, we've not observed violent cases or incidents. At least we have not seen tear gas canisters flying, and live bullets are yet to be fired. How can we maintain it? How can we keep this this environment of calmness? And Richard, I will ask our viewers to send in their comments and observations, send by WhatsApp, send by SMS, but you can also go to our chat box on the Salt Media app, and that's very easy to use, and I'll be reading the messages as the show progresses. Richard, talk about something Farida started off with, voter education, and how people are receiving the messages. Do you see I mean people trying to understand the manifestos, the messages in the manifestos of these candidates, and has there been adequate voter education leading up to the 2026 elections? Or anyway, is it a concern too?
So the manifestos. I don't know how many people read manifestos. I mean, read even the word read, even for us in the media. I don't know how many people read manifestos. I'm not sure that they are that important. I think the most sustained debate I had with my colleagues, sometimes we do a bit of think tanking around these elections and politics, was one of the manifestos where my candidate, wrote that that was going to be his last term. He wrote it in black and white. I would assume that Dr. Wilike as a researcher could have come across. So it was written, it was not speculation. And I was debating with these colleagues, and some of my colleagues who are no longer very supportive of him, and I'm using an understatement, were very, very supportive. So they thought I was being stubborn. Yeah, and they thought my skepticism, people think that's. So I told them, no. This is not going to go away. This is just a piece of paper with some ink on it. It is not the demand that will determine the behavior. No. So I was being dismissed. But the first action actually he took when he came to power, he expanded the cabinet.
Oh.
And I said, guys, so do you read anything in here? So it's the same. Apollo, you see, the thing that happened just before we came in this was to increase districts. So does anybody read anything in that?
Apollo was preaching.
Yeah, does anybody read anything in that election? Then we have had elections. We had primaries. So what happened during the primaries? Did we see free and fair in the primaries? So why do we think that then free and fair will somehow miraculously come? Did we see violence during primaries? So why do you think that? So how have the players changed? That in their own primaries they are violent. Now in the national one, where the stakes are even higher, they are going to be calm. You see, for me, these are the things that inform me. These observations. We have had elections for youth party, but also how much money went in? The elections for, they call it business league, or what do they call it?
Entrepreneurs League.
What happened? In both cases, no, in one of the cases, the delegates were actually taken out of the country. In this one of the young people, somebody had more than 150 delegates kept in a hotel. Youth. If we tell you to keep people in a hotel, 100 people for 1 week, you would say you are a little piece of land. So you see, I do not see the actions that are happening. They don't tell me that it will be a different picture in the national election. And that's what informs me. That's what informs my analysis. So when you tell me about
manifestos do not matter,
I don't see that people really pay attention to their own manifestos. In fact, if you held people to the manifestos and you tell them after 5 years, let's go back. I was telling somebody that we were looking at the manifestos of my candidate. There was a set of 3 roads which were in the 3 subsequent manifestos. We shall work on this one, and it would appear in the budget bill. And so that's how.
What about
voter education?
What about voter education?
Yes, now I started with the manifestos because you asked me 2 things. The other one is voter education. So if you accredit the organizations that should do voter education, and you accredit them after the campaign has spoken, what does that tell you? That's an action by an institution. So do you want me to speculate? But when there is an action here that people applied well in time and they were not accredited until after the campaign has started. So what are they going to teach?
Perhaps we need to ask Farida or anyone with that information, how many organizations have been accredited
and when were they accredited?
This huge role in a limited space of time.
Yeah, the issue is that we applied in October last year, and this is how we are being a few, I don't know how many, but I think the commission will be able to tell how many were accredited. But I see so many organizations complaining that they were not accredited. But it has been a very rigorous process for you to actually reach even here, because after accreditation, they have to approve the messages that you're going to use.
So that takes another...
That also takes time. And also you're supposed to submit your plan and also how you intend to roll out. And then
so when do you intend to roll out?
For me, when I got my accreditation, I started in a small way because there's also an issue of money funding, because we don't have enough funding. There's that gap. That is a challenge. But I intend to launch a very good campaign. I know it's with a nice slogan, and I'm going to launch it the other week around 15th October. 15th October. Yeah, because I say
3 or 4 weeks into the presidential campaign.
Exactly. So I think that is a lesson to learn to both the civil society organizations also and the electoral commission. How do we work around the clock to see that we don't go into that? To have voter education start actually through the process if it's coming close to an end, because we are actually coming to an end of the electoral cycle. We are only remaining with polling, and only campaigns will also be like October, November, and December, and that will be it. Because in January we shall be actually going for polling. And there's something that he mentioned, why are we having peaceful elections, peaceful campaigns? I think because the presidential candidates are actually enjoying the free space, because we are not seeing other people campaigning. But when the MPs also come on board, I think the pressure will also amount to the security, because they will have to handle the MPs at the same time the presidential campaign. So the pressure would actually, sometimes when the security guys get pressure, they tend to overreact. So because they have a lot of time, because not in every district that the presidential candidates are there. So you'd see that they can manage. As right now they can manage, they can actually over deploy for a
The
certain
scope is
candidate.
still
And
limited.
yes, the scope is still limited. But when the MPs come on board, the OC5s also come on board, and also some councillors. There are some funny councillors who will be running here and there. So the pressure will be too much to the security, such as, and at the end of the day, they will have to make a
They may
mistake.
snap.
Yeah, they will mess up. But they need to organize themselves and also prepare for that situation, because it's going. And I know that November is going to be hot. November is going to be really hot, and December.
Okay.
When you ask, but it's so funny when you were speaking about the manifestos, that even the candidates themselves, if you see, I'm not talking about the presidential candidates, but even the MPs, you'd ask an MP, do you have a manifesto? No. Do you know how many total number of voters in your area where you're standing? Do you know where that area, the boundaries of your constituency? No, you'll find someone who is in Rubaga South crossing campaigning in Rubaga North, because he actually has no idea where are the boundaries of Rubaga South. Like when we were in Kawempe North for that by-election, we could not even tell where Kawempe North ends, where it starts. So there is a lot in voter education to actually tell people that, even someone who is a voter, the person will actually look, I know I vote from that mango tree, but when you ask that voter, where does it fall? Does it fall in Kawempe South or Kawempe North? The voter will not be able to tell you. Not only even the voter, but also the candidate. That's why you find
even the candidates
the candidates themselves
need voter education.
Exactly. There is one time I'm going to mention, Shamim, there's the team from Shamim that came to me in 2021. They had no idea even which division has the highest number of voters. You are just moving around, trying to look for votes. But those are simple things that as a candidate you have to pay attention to. Like if I'm standing in Kampala Central comprises of how many villages, parishes, and which one has more voters, which one has registered. But what has been my contribution towards that? When it came to registration, did I actually tell these people that, you know what, you go and register, but you are seated waiting? That is selfishness of the candidates. I hear these candidates are so selfish that you can't even support your own government in any way you can. Even these political parties, that that you can, you stay in those localities, you can advise people, this is how the process is, go and register. But at the end of the day, you come on each day and you start pressurizing me that you want me to vote.
So with no attention to manifestos, what do you read from voters who now attend these rallies? What do you think?
Most of them expect actually these candidates to speak about their issues, and they are not actually also paying attention to the manifestos. Like he said, they don't even understand what a manifesto is. Most of them, they don't even know why a candidate shouldn't have a manifesto. Those are the issues that we have to sensitize them in voter education. That when a candidate stands, this is what is expected of a candidate. A candidate is supposed to have a manifesto. There's something very simple, and you could even underestimate. Like when we went to Kagoma to observe the election, people are asking, who are these? They are observers. Who are observers? No, these are police officers. Just because we are putting on a jacket, black jacket. So they thought that we are actually part of security, and they were stoning us.
So those are the voters.
The voters we have. They were stoning observers. They have no idea who an observer is. So if they do have no idea who an observer is, they have no idea what is a manifesto. What they understand is that, and they cannot even understand that in the next village, their issue is unemployment. What they only understand is what is in their locality, that we don't have we don't have a borehole, and that is it. And when you come as a candidate, you have to read, you have to study, you have to understand what are the issues in the area where I am going. Right. Apart from listening to the media is saying that maybe Busoga, now the issue was Kadaga in Busoga, and that's why I think that is one way that is one of the issues that informed to go to Jinja, to go to Busoga region, that was their issue,
to exploit those conflicts, those
feelings, because they have a lot of emotions of people towards Kadaga.
But that's your opinion.
That is my opinion. That is my observation.
we need to go for a break,
Yes,
Richard.
I talked to some young people. There are some young people who are in our network who we encouraged them to vie for office. And they went and got one district chairman, one was trying to be vice chairman of the youth council. So they are all here. So I asked them, what does the president's manifesto say on water?
They don't
And
know.
what does it say on minerals? and we are talking about graduates level. So if you went and got a NUP district chairperson candidates, you ask them what is the manifesto. Oh, Henry Mwebo.
No regard for manifestos. Regardless, we move on. Let's go for a break. When we return, the dialogue will continue to reflect on the events playing out in the presidential campaigns, but also in the general election. But in the second hour, we'll also look at the vetting process in the opposition national unity platform, which has actually created many more rebels within the opposition party. What does it mean? We go for a break and we'll return after this short while. Don't go away.